Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out a very strange game called A Cow Must Not Smoke by developer Tom Vanden Bogart. The premise here is that we will be pressing buttons very quickly to escape the peer pressure of our barnyard pals trying to convince us to smoke because apparently maybe our cow has had a past history of smoking and she just doesn't want to be exposed to that anymore. She's changed her life, she's turned everything around, and everybody around her, including the devil on her shoulder, wants to make her smoke again, and we're going to do our best to make sure that that isn't the road that she ends up going down. So let's enter our name, and I'm going to put in RockLeeSmile, and then we're going to hit enter, and we want to press bash Z to resist the smoking animals, bash X to destroy a demon. I really like that sentence, by the way. Bash X to destroy a demon. Don't let your resistance decrease too much. Press enter. Okay, so here we go. By the way, I should preface that I have mapped the buttons over to my 360 controller for ease of use. You may want to do this as well, or it might make the game a little too easy. It depends on your attitude towards button bashing types of games, and this is one of those. So let's start it up. And we'll press Z to start. I really like the art, by the way, before we even get into things. It's really adorable and quite charming. Poor cow. It's so cute. It just doesn't want to smoke. Alright, so we're going to bash some Z, and I have that on my A and my X button, and then I've got my X button on my B and my Y button, so in case a demon shows up, I should be able to quickly escape the influence. It's a very surreal thing to see this misty outside area, this very normal in the world to run into an area like that, a big old field, and then you just got all these smoking farm animals, and that one just loosed a big old pile of manure. That's how they do things out on the farm, and that's cool. So there's all these little text prompts jumping up. Oh, we've got one with it's a bull with a ring in its nose there. That's pretty cool, and the notch out of the ear. All these little text prompts jumping up as we go that are kind of just clever, funny little things that are gonna smoke. I don't want to. Leave me alone. Moo, oof. And there's just tons of them. Like, I can't even follow most of the amount of text that's jumping up. Thankfully, you don't really have to. And I do want to preface also that this is one of those games that, like, it doesn't drastically change the more you play it. I was just out of my curiosity, wanted to just see, or out of my own personal curiosity, wanted to see what changed if I just kept sticking with this for a very long time in case there were more and more things to see or do. But I think you've kind of gotten the premise, the idea of it already. I wanted to play this. It's just so ridiculously strange. You know, a game about a cow resisting smoking. I've never run into anything like that yet in my indie travels, and I have seen a few things by now. But I have not seen that. So my score is increasing little increments at a time. I've got a smoking duck at this point or something. Is that a duck or maybe it's like a chicken or something? Either way, it wants us to smoke. We're not going to do it. We're living a clean lifestyle. We're just going to keep on moseying through the field. It makes me wonder, like, what's happened to this poor cow that she can't just, like, stay in the place she's at. She's on this ridiculous tour. It's kind of like in Pokemon or something where it's just, like, endless trainers on the journey to wherever it is you're going, but you can't just stay where you are because you've got to get to the other side of wherever that field happens to be. And just everybody on the way wants to take you down a peg, and it's just not fair. You're just a nice cow. What did you do to deserve this treatment? And why are there so few other cows jumping to your aid? Nobody here wants to help you. It's completely one-sided right now. There's even freaking demons showing up every now and again. And I just wish there were more farm animals or something, or like maybe a little bit more diversity in the locales. Maybe go over like a wooden covered bridge or something, or go on a journey next to a pond. I mean, there's endless places that we could journey as a cow, and maybe we could even have a diverting pass after a while. Maybe there could be some risk reward where we happen to go to a certain part of town that's infamous for having the most congregation of smoking animals out of anywhere in the area, and maybe if we choose to go through that, we could also pick up some kind of extra bonus to our resistance, maybe make our resistance bar a little longer for the trials that we would have to go through to get through that situation without submitting. Now, I haven't actually lost yet, and it makes me kind of curious what happens if that is the case. It's also very satisfying, the sound effects, when we happen to hit the buttons for the demons. It's like, it almost sounds like a shotgun cocking and then blowing away the demon, which is kind of cool. And it's just it's a very dreary landscape, but it just seems so, like, appropriate. It almost seems like the cows have filled up the sky with smog or something, and then we're just trying to escape that world. I wish we could escape that world, but it just seems endless. There's just poor cows going through such drudgery at this point. And that was almost enough to do me in there. In fact, if I was on my keyboard, I probably would have already been pushed over the edge of how much I can handle with My frail fingers clicking away on a keyboard. I'm letting things get to me a little bit more, but now that I'm using both parts of my thumb to escape the grasp of these enemies, and it seems like the further on you get, the longer it takes to escape the influence of each smoking animal, which is a sentence that I've never considered saying before in my life. But now I have context. In fact, that's kind of the universal thing, isn't it? Like, if you find the right indie game, you can find context for any group of statements, and they'll actually make some sense, which is pretty wild. Let's see if we just get up to 500, and I think I'll be content with that bit of scenario. And I'm not a huge fan of the idea of a game that's just all about mashing buttons the whole time. But in this case, again, I really thought that this was worth seeing just because it's so strange and surreal. I kind of wish it was developed further. I wish there was more of an excuse I had to keep playing it further. In fact, if there were, like, decorations for the cow, maybe you get to a certain point, unlocks hats or some silly thing, I would totally be into playing this for longer just to see where the journey takes us. It's rather mindless, but it's also just kind of funny at the same time, and that's all I ask from sometimes. I mean, granted, this is not exactly the most playable game in the world, and there's a lot of manure involved, but it's okay, because sometimes games can just be silly and simple, and that's fine. So I think I'll submit at this point on the next chance I get, and we'll just see what happens if we just let the resistance bar drain. The demon's just telling us to smoke. Oh my god! Well, that's not exactly what I expected to happen if we lost. Our entire freaking body exploded. Alright, so the temptation to smoke was too strong for you. So that's what happens, guys. If you submit to smoking, your entire body will become full of holes, and you will bleed, and your head will fall off, and that's not entirely true. But yeah, don't smoke. There's your message. If you're looking for one, and you probably shouldn't be looking for a message here, because we're pretty silly guys and gals here over on the Indie Impressions series. So if you want to check out more videos like this, I've actually got a whole playlist that's like bizarre indie simulator games, and I think this would maybe be grouped into like cow don't smoke simulator sort of thing like that. Maybe that's what I would call this, the no smoking cow simulator or something. But yeah, go check that out if you want to see more strange games in a similar vein to this. And there are plenty more in the series too. So if you want to go play this yourself also, check out the description. Going to be a link for this game in particular. You can go and see how long you can last and resist the temptation of smoking as a cow if you choose. And it's endless as far as I know. So see how far you can push yourself. Maybe make a 24-hour live stream about it. It could be a good time, or maybe quite detrimental to your health. I'm not sure which way to take that quite yet. Anyway, that's going to do it for another episode, guys. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like on it. It helps me out a whole bunch. And be sure to come back again tomorrow. New episodes of Indie Impressions go up every single day. So I look forward to seeing you again for another one tomorrow. And I hope you have a fantastic night. I'll talk to you later.